Hello everyone, today we will talk about the transit Pluto. The transiting Pluto is in square with natal Mercury. The way the transiting Pluto behaves in trine with natal Mercury depends on the position of the natal Mercury. This transit may be more prominent in your life if you already have planets in aspect with natal Mercury. But the basics are this. During this time your thoughts are intense and penetrating, ideas are seriously challenged and you will be forced to defend them whether or not you are right. Encountering serious ego conflicts with people around you will call into question your ideas and thought processes. Because as much as you feel your own opinion, so do others feel your opinion, which can lead to endless conversations or discussions. The positive side of this is that you can become a really powerful speaker, and the intensity of the conversation will be amazing. Strong challenges from the world, on many topics, will make you adapt and change both your own and other people's opinions and beliefs, according to your ideas and ways of thinking. It's hard to get passionate about it, and this challenge can stem from exposure to new quick, short information like newspapers or research articles, but it can also come through your brief encounters with other people, by phone or chat. Delighted with ideas from both your own and others, you work hard to influence other people, and your in-depth thinking will allow you to penetrate these complex topics and understand things that were previously beyond your comprehension. So the depth of thought leads you to immerse yourself in ideas you couldn't deal with before, and to try to convince others of what someone believes by causing intense encounters with others. Of course, they can also try to persuade you to believe in certain things or challenge your position on many topics. However, it is not beneficial to submit to the ideas of others or try to get them to think like you. It is a negative trend that you should try to avoid. It is also very important to examine the intentions of others and to study their views extensively and not to accept anything from blind faith. But what is certain is that you will have the opportunity to influence other people's lives with your ideas, but you have to learn to allow other people's ideas to coexist with yours. This way you will direct your thoughts towards one goal, and talk to others about your interests. But you should be careful because there is a chance that you will become too obsessed and dogmatic about your beliefs. Because of the communication blackout you've experienced at this point, you can't figure out what's all going on, and you probably won't be able to assimilate it all for a while. If you're open to learning from those experiences, things will go a lot easier. It is important to be as flexible as possible in your mind, so that you do not become dogmatic or keep too outdated ideas or thoughts. The question is to really know your limits and know what you think from the inside. However, this concern for a particular idea carries blindness to some of your global points and the general context of a problem, especially as you try to convince others to fit your point of view. In some situations, it might be quite appropriate to defend your views because other people are trying to control you with their persuasive powers, but you may be the one trying to reform their thinking. For people involved in science, this transit can be a time for deep and serious work, and a thorough exploration of information that reaches a deep and hidden level. The nature of the information varies according to your personal interests, i.e. which houses are activated in the map, but regardless of the area where it develops, the research conducts you intensively and with a great desire to discover the hidden motives and causes of performance. All your communication will now seem more intense to you as you tirelessly search for the truth. There are tendencies to obsessive thinking or to outline strategies. And every task will require complete dedication, that is, being too obsessed with work. If you pay more attention to your psychological state, new ideas will have an intense emotional experience, and everything hidden, magical and mysterious will have a big impact on you. By learning the secrets or being involved in an investigation revealing secrets, for you information is power, and you need to remember that it is now wise to take advantage of it and keep it. You realize that knowledge is power, but be careful how you use that power, and make sure you don't use it to manipulate or control others as we've already stated, because that can have serious consequences. If transit is based on the family side, dealing with an old traumatic experience from the past that has surfaced will require analyzing the reasons and letting them go. You shouldn't try to stay rigid and not recognize it. If you thought you had forgotten, it can suddenly appear in your life and become a really painful topic. You will have a lot of insight about this because Pluto activates deeper and darker parts of your mind that can generate intense thoughts that will affect your entire way of being. You want to know what's next, and there could be more than you'd like. So know that you will have to work with this problem, but the good news is that you will really have a chance to overcome it. If you do not cope with the whole transit, then 12 houses are included in the whole story then it is a good time to go to psychotherapy. There's not a lot of relief here, and if you're not ready to use different occult techniques to help yourself with self-help books, psychological analysis, spiritual information, etc., the whole story will manifest as paranoia, and experiencing someone else's basics won't necessarily be pleasant. So you're really going to have to put in the effort, focus on something, and read all about it. And it is a better choice to do it of your own free will. For example, a person could learn all about astrology during transit, if he gets rid of all unnecessary thoughts and beliefs. But you will be attracted to darker topics and are very likely to become obsessed. So transform your skills, way of working and assessment.